Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to see a practice mock test for database management systems. This test consists of real questions which was asked in various competitive examinations like GATE, TNSET, UGC NET, AP SET, PGTRB, etc. So before we get on to the video, do like the video and subscribe to the channel, which will motivate me to do more such videos. This test consists of 15 questions. So start a timer for 30 minutes and then attempt the exam. After completion of 15 questions, I'll be describing the answers and the solutions for the questions. So let's get started. Let's see the solutions. The first question is, which is used to represent the supporting many-to-one relationships of a weak entity set in an ER diagram. So here, the relationships are represented by double diamonds and the weak entity set is represented by a double rectangle. So the answer is option C here. And a weak entity set is nothing but an entity set which does not have sufficient attributes to form a primary key. And weak entity types have partial keys and they always have total participation. And it is represented by a double rectangle, whereas the relationship between one strong and one weak entity is represented by using double diamond. The next question is the relational algebra expression equivalent to the following tuple calculus expression. A tuple calculus expression is given here. And here, the right answer is option C. So in the given relational algebra, you can see that the tuple has two attributes, A and B. And according to the given tuple calculus expression, we need the values of tuples in which the value of attribute A is equal to 10 and the value of the attribute B is equal to 20. Okay, so if we consider the options A and B, it is either the value of attribute A is 10 or B is equal to 20. So, but we want the values of attributes A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20. So we need to select those tuples having A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20. So this is satisfied by option C. So the right answer is option C. Third question is, given the following relation instance, which of the following functional dependencies are satisfied by the instance? So here, the right answer is option B. So if you see here, the values of, you take the first option, the value of Z does not uniquely determine the value of Y. Okay, z does not uniquely determine the value of y, because for the same value of z is equal to 2, the value of y is 4 and also 2. So the value of z does not uniquely determine y. So option A is wrong. For option B, the value of y uniquely determines z, because y has unique values, distinct values, and it uniquely determines the values of z. And y also uniquely determines the values of x. So when y uniquely determines the value of x, yz also is capable of uniquely determining the value of x. It is like, let's say I identify a student with the help of his register number, then it is also possible that I can identify the student with a combination of register number plus his name. Both is going to uniquely determine that student. Okay, so option B is the right answer for this. You can also determine that by using Armstrong axioms. So by in subset property, we have if y is a subset of x, then x determines y. Augmentation property says that if x determines y, then xz determines yz. According to transitivity axiom, if x determines y and y determines z, then x determines z. And from that, we can also derive secondary rules of union, where if x determines y and x determines z, then we have x determines yz. And decomposition says that if x determines yz, then we can say x determines y and x determines z. And according to pseudo transitivity rule, we can say if x determines y and yz determines w, then xz determines w. So from this also we can derive the answer. The next question is a set of key values 10, 3, 6, 8, 4, 2, and 1 is given. And they're asking the maximum number of times leaf nodes would get split up as a result of these insertions. This is insertion into a B plus tree, and we need to find out the maximum number of times the leaf node would be split. So this is how insertion happens. First, you're inserting the value of 10 here, and then we are inserting the value of 3. Then we are inserting the value of 6. So when we insert the value of 6, here you can see that there is a split here. And so first, before going to the insertion, we have seen that the order of the given B plus tree is 3, and the order of the leaf node is given in the question as 2. So maximum number of keys which we can have in the given B plus tree is 2, and the minimum number of keys is ceil of 3 by 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. And the maximum number of children is 3. So first, when I try to insert 10, and then I can insert 2 keys, maximum number of keys which I can have is 2. So then I insert 3. So then I insert 6. So already 3 and 10 are being inserted. So B plus tree is a generalization of the binary search tree. So it holds the properties of binary search tree. So when I try to insert 6, it has to be inserted as in between 3 and 10, as 3, 6, and 10. Okay, but there is a no overflow here. There is no space to insert 6 here. So the node has to be split. When the node has to be split, we need to find the value of j. So j is nothing but the order of the leaf node plus 1 divided by 2. So you would be getting the order of the leaf node is 2. So 2 plus 1 divided by 2 is 3 by 2, which is 1.5. So ceil of 1.5, you would be getting 2. So which means the first j entries are kept in the same node and the remaining entries are moved to a new node, and the jth value is replicated in the parent node. So that's why the first j entries, that is the first 2 entries, are kept in the same node. The remaining entry is moved to a new node, and the jth value, which is the second value, which is 6, is replicated in the parent node. So whenever you do a leaf node split, we need to replicate the jth value in the parent node. But if you are splitting the internal node, you don't have to replicate the value. You just have to move that value to the top. Okay, so there is a split when you try to insert 6. Then next you try to insert 8. You don't have to split here. You can insert it here as 8 and 10. Next we try to insert 4. So when we try to insert 4, here you can see you have to insert 4 here. It is a binary search tree. It is a generalization of binary search tree. So 4 has to be inserted to the left of 6. So it has to be inserted here in between 3 and 6 as 3, 4, and 6. But there is no space here. So you have to split the leaf node now. So when you have to split, when you want to split the leaf node, again the second, again j is equal to 2. So the first two entries, 3 and 4, are kept in the same node. The remaining values are moved to the different node, and the jth value is replicated in the parent node. Okay, so another split happens when you try to insert 4. And then next you try to insert 2. When you try to insert 2, you need to insert 2 here. So if you see the previous thing, so 2 has to be inserted here. Okay, 2 has to be inserted here. 2 has to be inserted to the left of 4. And 2 has to be inserted in this leaf node as 2, 3, and 4. So that means again there is a leaf node split here, and 2 and 3 will be kept in the same node. 4 will be moved to a different node, and 3 has to be replicated in the parent node. So that is what has happened here. So when that has been done, again now there is a overflow in the parent node. So again the parent node or the internal node has to be split again. Remember that when you're splitting the internal node, again you find the value of j by using the order of the B plus tree. Order of the B plus tree is p. And then when you find the value of j, you would be getting it as 2. And then now the first j entries are kept in the same node, that is 3 is kept in the same node, and the jth value is moved to the parent node, and the remaining value is moved to the next node. Okay, when you are splitting the internal node, there is no need for replication. That jth value is moved to the parent node. Only that happens. So there is a split again when you try to insert 2. Then when you try to insert 1, see the previous diagram. So when you try to insert 1 has to be inserted to the left of 4, 1 has to be inserted to the left of 3, because it is a generalization of binary search tree and it follows those properties. Now 1 has to be inserted in this leaf node as 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 3 is the order in which the nodes have to be having their values. But there is a node overflow here. So then what you have to do, you have to split this leaf node. So when you split this leaf node, 1 and 2 will be in the 1 and 2 will be here, and then so this is splitting of leaf node. So the jth value is 2. So 2 is replicated in the parent node. Okay, so this is how the final B plus tree would look like. So overall you had 4 leaf node splits. You also had a splitting of the internal node, but here in the question they are asking the total number of leaf node splits only, which is equal to 4 here. So 4 is the answer. The next question is, which of the following is not a super key? Which of the following is not a super key in a relational schema with attributes v, w, x, y, z, and primary key v, y? So they have told that primary key is vy. So primary key is a minimal super key, and they are asking which is not a super key. So in the primary key, we have the attributes v and y of the relation. So that means in the super key also, we should be having v and y. So if you see the option B, you don't have Y in the option B, but V and Y should be definitely compulsorily be present in the super key. So we don't have Y, so right answer is option B here. So this is the definition of super key and primary key. Super key is nothing but a subset of attributes from the relation, which is used to uniquely identify all the attributes in a relation. And primary key, you can say it is a minimal super key, which is used to uniquely identify all the attributes in the relation. And primary keys attributes cannot contain null values. That is the difference between super key and primary key. The next question is, relation R has 8 attributes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Fields of R contains only atomic values. They're asking how many candidate keys does the relation R have? So totally we have 4 candidate keys, A, D, B, D, E, D, and F, D. So the right answer is option 4 here. The next question is, the casual users access the stored database by. This was asked in PGTRB 2019 examination. So the right answer is, casual users will be accessing the stored database by executing interactive queries. So the right answer is option C here. The next question is, the relation R has 8 attributes. Fields of R contain only atomic values, and we have a set of functional dependencies. Considering the given FDs, they are asking the relation R is in which normal form. Okay, first we find the candidate keys for the given relation. The candidate keys are AD, BD, ED, and FD. So from that, you can see, when you see the functional dependencies, A determines BC, B determines CFH. So there is a partial dependencies to the candidate keys. Okay, the candidate keys as a whole is not determining the values of B and C or A, etc. So since there is a partial dependency, this relation is only in first normal form. It is not in second normal form. Okay, so the right answer would be, this relation is in first normal form and not in second normal form, which is option A. The next one is, which was asked in ISRO examination, which symbol denotes derived attributes in ER model. So an example of derived attribute is age. Okay, age is an attribute. We can derive it from birth date. Okay, so such derived attributes are represented by using dashed eclipses. So derived attribute is nothing but an attribute which is derived from the other attributes of the entity type, and that is represented by using dashed eclipse. The next question is, dash acts as a cross-reference between tables. This was asked in TNSET 2017 examination. The right answer to this is foreign key. The next question is, consider a relation table that is in third normal form, but not in Boyce-Codd normal form. Which of the following statement is true? Now, in option D, they have told that a cell in R holds a set instead of an atomic value. So that means it is not in first normal form also. So option D is eliminated. So if you consider options A, B, and C, the relation is not in BCNF, and they say that X is not a super key. So if it has to be in BCNF, then X has to be a super key. So we have to consider the options A, B, and C. Out of that, if X is not a super key, but if the relation R has to be in third normal form, then at least A has to be a prime attribute. So that is satisfied only by option C. So option C is the right answer for this. The next one is, consider a schema and functional dependencies A determines B and C determines D. Then the decomposition of R into R1 of AB and R2 with C and D is, so the right answer is dependency preserving but not lossless join, because you don't have any attributes common in between the relations. So there is no possibility of a key between in the relations, in the decomposed relations. So this is dependency preserving, but it's not a lossless join. The next one is, which of the following regarding basic ER and relational models is incorrect? An attribute of an entity can have more than one value. This is allowed. An attribute of an entity can be composite. This is also allowed. In a row of a relational table, an attribute can have more than one value. No, this is not allowed. In a row of a relational table, an attribute can have exactly one value or null value. This is allowed. So option C is the incorrect option. The next one is, in a multi-level index, the data file is ordered by the attribute that is also the search key in the index file. The data file is ordered by an attribute that is different from the search key. Multi-level index is an index structure consisting of two or more tiers of records, where an upper tier's record points to the associated index records of the tier below. So the right answer is option C here. The last question is, consider a relation with the following instance. Assume the above data is valid. Which of the following functional dependencies must be false? So here we have A determines B. Considering that for the same value of A, when the value of A is 5, the value of B is 5. When the value of A is 5, the value of B is 7. So A does not uniquely determine the value of B. Okay, so the first one is false. Now take the second one, A determines C. So here the value of, when the value of A is 5, the value of C is 5 and the value of C is 8 also. So the value of A is not able to uniquely determine the value of C. So this is also false. So 1 and 2 is false. They are asking which of the following functional dependencies must be false. So the right answer is option C, which is 1 and 2. So hope this video is useful for you, and it had been a good practice test for you. The best support which you could give me is to subscribe to the channel and share this video to your friends so that you can see more of such videos in this channel. See you in my next video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.